Well, this is very precious for the reason if you read this book, you know why holding certain things close is very representative of a lot of what's in this wonderful book. Well, ladies and gentlemen, welcome. For those of you who do not know the author, his name is Jaime Manrique. Manrique Palacín. How is that?
Perfect.
And he's not only a wonderful author, this is his 6th book, I think, but the first he's condescended to publish. And it's a very naughty book, let me tell you. It's unbelievably naughty, as well as very well written and very witty and very entertaining. But you're definitely not going to need Horlicks after this book. You need something else. And of course, we also have his pictures, because before Enrique became...
That's the main...
Sorry, before Enrique, no.
Enrique
is the character in the book who I was going to say, before Enrique became Enrique, I suspect he was Jaime.
That's what everybody thinks, and it's not true.
It's not true. Oh.
I wish it was.
Oh. But also, Jaime is a wonderful painter, and in the proper, classical, decent standard of painting, like Raphael, and Titian, and people like that. None of this nonsense about, what's the name of Mr. Shark?
Damien Hirst.
Damien Hirst, sorry. So, I would recommend, I don't want to tell you too much about the book. It's, I will briefly tell you that it's about a young man who, I think he was exactly 60-something, isn't he?
Yes.
If I remember correctly.
Yes.
He gets caught out, as those of us who are old enough to remember. The oldest trick in the book when you needed to nab a guy was you'd catch him out. And anyway, he gets caught out and he ends up moving from, after he gets married, because he has an honor marriage, I think called a shotgun marriage in English.
Yes.
And then he ends up moving to New York, and I won't give too much of the story away, but it's very, very funny, it's well written, it's very moving, and it's very sexy. And now I think I should turn you over to Jaime for him to tell us about whatever he wants to tell us about.
Well, I would rather have everybody asking questions, because that would be a nice way to please everybody. If anybody wants to know, I can tell you a bit more about the novel, although we cannot... Yes, there you are.
How did you separate writing from painting?
I don't...
Because you must be, like, in the studio, you're working on a painting. Did you decide at a certain time, I'm no longer a painter, I'm a writer? Or how did that work for you?
The extraordinary thing is that I do the two things at the same time. I write, I make, while I'm painting, I write notes. A notebook next to me, and I write.
But you've got a brush in your hand.
I leave the brush for that moment.
So you're ambidextrous.
And then I continue painting. I create another idea, and again, I leave the brush in its place and write it. Take the brush, continue painting.
I
Very
see.
easy. Handy, very handy.
Thank you. Do you see your future as two-handed, or is one going to dominate the painting?
I hope I can do both at the same level, because I love doing both. Oh, this seems to work better somehow when you twist it. Yes.
What was your inspiration for the book?
For painting or for
This particular
writing?
book. This book.
Right. Well, it's always been the relationships between people. I think they're the most fascinating things, and they can vary so tremendously. Wonderful stories that you are told or you know. In some cases, it's not all fiction, it's based in reality.
Yes, but is it autobiographical? All
No, it is not.
Romance, no.
Because it would be too good to be true. But it's partly true. Partly true. That's right. Yeah. So, more questions. I love more questions.
May I ask, there's a place called Santa Maria del Rio in the book. Is this a real place, or where is it?
It's part of my imagination. Because it doesn't exist. I particularly checked out that it wouldn't exist, because you don't want to put anybody in the spot, you know.
So which country is this notional?
No, it is Spain. It is Spain. It is meant to be in the north of Spain.
In north?
Yes. Burgos.
Sorry?
In Burgos.
Oh, Burgos,
It's a lovely old town.
Hometown.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is the difference for you between writing and painting?
The difference, well, both are my hobby. You see, I love doing both, painting and writing. And as one, I am used to paint so much already for so many years. I don't have to concentrate perhaps too much in the painting, because it comes automatically. I see that I have everything in a stand, everything I'm painting, and then I don't have to entertain myself too much, my mind, how to achieve the colors, for I know that. And then it gives me time to think and write as well. So both are my hobbies.
But did you study at the academy? Yeah, because they are very academic and fantastic sort of knowledge of technique. So did you study it, or did it come to you naturally?
Well, it came very naturally to me since I was a child.
Bravo.
But then I came to London and I went to the Bayern Show Art School. And there I did a course as well.
How long did it take you to write this book?
That is very difficult to calculate, because as I did it while I was painting, it wasn't the same as if I was dedicated entirely to write, you see. Then I could check up on the time. But as you do it in pieces, bits and pieces, I can't tell you the time.
Well, Jaime, you're a man for all seasons.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Now, more questions. Come on, don't be shy.
I know you've written 7 books in total. This is the first one you've published.
That's it.
How long did it take to write all 7 together? And are you still working on 7?
I have been actually writing for quite a few years, lots of years, but I never thought I was going to publish anything. And when a producer, a publisher saw it, and he thought, you should, publish it. So that's why it came out. But now I am encouraged to do the rest.
So Jaime, is there another one in the pipeline?
Oh, there are quite a few. There are 7 already.
Okay.
7 already written.
And one after this one?
Yes. What happened is that it's like they are, well, I was going to say like a sketch. No, it's much more than a sketch. I have them already quite finished, but you want to polish them a bit more before you're going to publish, naturally.
You want to dress up the baby before you release it.
Absolutely.
Do you write in the first place in Spanish or in
Yes.
English, or have it translated, or do both yourself?
I write in Spanish, and later I have it translated, you see. And it's a great pleasure, I must say. I always enjoy enormously, like painting. Yes.
And how much editing is involved? Do you go back and edit your own material, or does somebody edit for you, or?
Well, I do as much as I can, and then you put it in the hands of somebody else who would put more trained,
Yeah.
with lots of experience, and then they polish it a bit more. They tell you, well, what do you think of this or that? Would you like it to sound this way or the other? You know, they ask for my opinion, and they usually quite right.
Yeah. So you don't disagree with editorial comment?
Not if it's constructive, if it's all right. If they want to spoil the story, no. Thank you.
This is actually a question for both Georgie and Jaime.
Georgie, for you and for me.
Because, you know, you're both writers, you're both published authors. But the reality of writing can be quite a lonely existence. I mean, do you actually take one part of your day where you just focus completely? I mean, Georgie, I'd be quite intrigued, you know, with your sort of research and everything, and the same with Jaime as well.
Why don't you answer first? Before we
The question was much more for you. But
It's for both of you, because you know the whole discipline of actually writing.
I got a bit lost actually because
You know, just the discipline of writing, because actually to sit down with a blank page, or dare I say it,
Yes.
with a computer in front of you, get the first few lines out is always quite difficult to do. It does require quite a lot of discipline.
well, before you start writing, you create the story inside your mind, isn't it? And then you just get on with it. But you have to have a sketch in your mind already.
Of course, I don't really write fiction, which is different.
quite different.
Although I have written fiction. I need to be careful reading. And I actually don't find writing at all lonely. I find it wonderfully interesting.
Absolutely.
I find it very companionable.
Yeah.
I love research, and with the internet, it's the great library of Alexandria brought back to life. So instead of scurrying around to the British Library and the Kensington and Chelsea Library and your local library, which one used to have to do 30 years ago, nowadays you don't do any of that. You just go on to Wikipedia and check, recheck, and triple and quadruple check, because half the time they're wrong. But ultimately, if you check enough, you can stand up stuff. It's very interesting. And also, in terms of the fiction I have written, I've written 2 books of fiction, one of which was published, the other of which I have been asked to publish, and it's such a lot to have to go back to something you've done. It's like an old love affair. No matter how fascinating you found him when you were in bed with him 10 years ago, now is not the same. You don't want to revisit it. But I will say that I actually found fiction very entertaining, because I mean, the thing about writing anything, whether it's fact or fiction, is you know a certain amount. I mean, you know, professional writer is like, you have to have everything properly constructed. And in fact, publishers always insist on buying an outline, which may be only about 5-6 pages, but it's absolutely broken down there. So they know exactly what they're getting in terms of skeleton, muscle, then of course you put on the meat. But you need to surprise yourself on a daily basis. So if you're writing fiction, you can't actually decide that in 10 pages X is going to do Y, because if you already know it, it's going to be boring for the reader. And in fact, with fact, it works it's even more essential, especially if you're doing books on the royal family, or any royal family, or anybody who's in the public eye, because of course there's there's such a disparity between the reality and the individual, and that's what makes it interesting. And you need to surprise yourself on a daily basis. And once you've surprised yourself, then the reader is engaged. Then you write a page turner. If you don't do it like that, and I know many authors who do not, it's Yawnsville. And of course, then you don't need sleeping tablets. You just take their books to bed.
Jaime, have you been inspired by any particular author, or in terms of style or construction?
No, really. No. I just thought I wanted to do what I felt. And I hope it's original.
Yeah, sure.
Jaime, do you use a computer or do you write longhand?
Well, I write it by hand first, and then I dictate it to the computer, which is a tremendous access, I must say. Another question?
Jaime, what is more of a challenge, a blank canvas or a blank page?
Very much the same. But you always have to have the idea, whether it's for painting or writing. You have to create the idea first, and from there you go on.
How difficult, given the
Sorry, Alexander. I just wanted to make an observation that people who do not write or paint or stuff like that don't realize, in fact, there's no such thing as a blank canvas or a blank page, because before you arrive at a primed canvas or at a page that you're already ready to deliver the goods to. So it's not like sitting down and thinking, God, what? And you know, if you're dry, you don't get to the point of sitting down in front of your computer. Is that not true?
Quite right, absolutely.
I'm extremely interested in, having listened to the extraordinary Radio 4 programme the other day about the art of translation. How important was it for you to have a really good translator to actually capture the essence of your own feeling?
But yes, very important, and particularly when it's romance involved, because you have to show the emotions in a different way that you would write something about Christopher Columbus, you know. I mean, that's sort of very different, very different. Yeah.
In your paintings, you always seem to have light going through glass or a furry peach. In your books, is it sensual in the same way? What's the equivalent for light in the glass or the furry peach?
On writing, well, I suppose it's the highlights, as one would call it. But yes, you always have to show, for instance, the way the person feels. That is like giving it color, you see. If you are writing about emotions particularly, you have to be deep down to find the best words for it. Now, more questions? Yes?
Which in your feeling when you finish a painting on a book?
Which is mine?
Which is your feeling
when you finish a painting or a book?
These are friends of mine that came from Spain. Yes, ask in Spanish.
¿Qué es lo que sientes, o sea, cuál es tu sentimiento
cuando terminas
un libro o una pintura?
Or a painting? What is my feeling? Great satisfaction. Great satisfaction. Particularly if it went well and you are happy with it. Sorry? Como that I have no idea or experience. Sorry. She said it's like giving birth, and I said I have no experience.
Do you ever feel sad when you finish either a painting or a book? Because you've been with it and you've lived with it for a long time?
No. On the contrary, you are longing to start another one. Because it's very exciting when you finish the story. And and you read it a lot of times, many times, until you are satisfied, and you always find something that you would change slightly. So that's the way.
And how is your process, painting or writing? Is like a fight, like for some artists, or is a good moment of creations?
Like a fight?
Yes.
No. A ver qué me quieres decir.
O sea, es como una lucha hasta que buscas tú lo que quieres encontrar, o...
No, but you have to really, it all comes back again to say that you have to have the sketch ready. And once you have the sketch, you continue elaborating on it, and you make it the best possible way, that's all. Now, more questions. It's lovely to have all these questions around. Who was going to ask me more questions?
A naughty question.
A naughty question. A naughty question. Come on, naughty question.
Were you influenced by various Shakespeare?
Sorry?
Were you influenced by various Shakespeare?
Was I inspired by who?
50 Shades of Grey.
Oh my goodness, yes. No, I wasn't actually. I read that book after I wrote this one. So no inspiration in it from that.
And this is much better.
Thank you. How
Shades
sweet.
of Grey is deeply more sexy.
How sweet of you.
Who is the sexiest person in the book?
Who is the sexiest? Oh, without any doubt, Enrique. And when people read the book, they always want to be Enrique. So do I. So do Enrique?
Oh, he's partner. He's so exciting. I mean, you know, everybody wants to have to be the partner.
Much better to be the partner.
Right. What? Now, more questions? No need for more questions.
Is it true that the editor said there's not enough sex in the book?
I think that was a bad dream of somebody who perceived it. When you read it, you'll see what happens. Great.
But the sex is very well handled. It's not distasteful, which so much of modern day literary sex is. Because actually, fundamentally, it's always feeling driven.
Yes, and you're quite right.
Which makes a big difference not only on the page, but in the bed as well, as we all know.
Yes. Good manners is not a bad idea for anybody. Oh, I see. What is coming?
Coming and helping us.
Thank you so much. Oh, this is wonderful. Oh, sorry. Thank you so much. This is wonderful. Are you sure I deserve it?
You do deserve it. You do deserve it.
They're marvelous. Thank you. Now, Kellen, also, that's the Giorgione that you have in your back room. I'll take that as well while I'm going with this beautiful Locust flowers. Thank you very much.
So, I don't know if there is anything else. If there are no more questions, probably you're quite happy with what you know.
Yes,
Which means the book. Which means join a queue and buy the book so that you can get it signed by this wonderful author. Don't you think?
Yes.
Don't you think that's a good suggestion? Okay.
Well, thank you very much.